with another session of Care of Ours. So here's my favorite guest, Kara. She's also one of my great friends now because we just share everything. We talk, and when we talk on the phone, I'm like, we need to be recording all of these conversations, sister, because it just goes there, and it's a lot of good information. So
Absolutely. Our topics get quite interesting.
I love it. This is why I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. We get to actually have a Zoom again. I'm like, I'm
It's about
excited.
time, yes. And we keep saying we need to do this more
Yes.
regularly, but life gets in the way. It is what
Well,
it is.
it just is that way. We flow. We are in a synchronistic flow of energy, whether we can make it on time or not. And at least we're here in the moment, present,
We're here.
sharing with
Um,
everybody.
Really quick before we get started, I
Yes.
just want to let people know that if anyone wanted to reach out and get a hold of me, you can reach me at lostwaysfound@gmail.com. I do offer various things like Vedic astrology readings, feng shui. I'm also a natural therapies coach. Um, so I offer a lot of different things. And anyway, if you're interested in any of that, please reach out to me.
Absolutely. I
So,
am all
what
about.
all do you do? You do a lot of stuff as well.
Well, I'm doing many things. I wear many hats. That's just what I found works in my life.
What we
And so,
do.
obviously I do QHHT, but for online sessions, I do change it up because Dolores Cannon did not want people to do things online. Apparently, that's one of the clauses is you don't do QHHT necessarily, but I have taken other past life regression therapy courses. And so I do that. I'm a level 2 practitioner. I do remove entities from people. People do not know that they are possessed, and this is probably something we should talk about today.
I
But
think
I
that's a great
also,
topic.
yeah, so I do many things, and I love to promote other people's things. Today I actually have soap from my friend's. She has a Stranger Things Hawkins headquarters tour company now. She used to have a soap company that was like bath products and all of that. She still has that company, but she found that she's catering to the people that are touring around Georgia right now that are coming from all over the world. They're about to film Stranger Things in my town coming up this month. So and in that, train of thought, I was like, you know what? I'll promote her soap while I'm at it. So I'm going to like turn off my mirror for a second on my video screen so that you guys can see this. It's a little soap. It's Stranger Things by Gold Lion Farm, and it has a little waffle on the top. It's in the colors of the upside down. So it has red and black, but I mean, it smells really good. I've actually been collecting these, Kara. It's crazy. I'm like, I need more of those. I'm going to start passing them out.
That's
So,
great. Sorry, my dog's being
oh, it's fine.
loud.
So, what I figured we would do is some kind of special promotion today where, if we're going to make this up off the cusp, okay? If somebody wants to reach out for a Vedic astrology reading or for, a tarot reading, which we both do from either one of us, I will send you this. I'm only going to send one. So it has to be somebody that does it, oh my God, I see this video. I want that soap and I want to get a reading. If you get a reading from one of us, I will mail this soap for free. So
Oh, that's wonderful.
yeah, it's a giveaway. And I also have been considering, I had this idea about doing a kind of like a trade, like pay it forward kind of trade thing with little gifts. So I have a little puzzle. It's just a little thing that you can play with. And I wanted to see if somebody would play the game with me. So I will send this to you. And in exchange, you can send something to me, or you can write to me one of your stories. I'm just going to make this up like off the cusp again. You can write to me about one of your stories about some spiritual experience that you've had. And Kara and I will choose from reading them. This is going to be read on line. So, don't share too much intimacy stuff. but the best story can get this puzzle. Or if nobody writes in that regard to want to share a story, then, let's talk about exchange. Send me something, I'll send you this little puzzle thing. And then let's keep it going. Let's kind of get things going out to people, mailing things to people, and just sharing gifts with the world. So we're going to just kind of go with that thing.
I
I
think that's
just have
great.
these crazy ideas. I'm like, you know what? I just want to do like an exchange, tit for tat, and let's start moving materials and showing how the humanity can actually be. It's like, hey, I've got this thing, you got that thing. Let's just share and play and whatever.
Like a spiritual barter system.
Kind of. I mean, like I said, it can be anything, either of the two things with the puzzle, or if you want a reading, then I'll give you the soap. The soap is amazing, by the way. It's all natural ingredients. I have been encouraging them to make their shampoo again, which was amazing. But they moved away from the shampoo for some reason. And I'm like, you
Hmm.
guys need to make it. But
Well,
anyway,
let's talk about the natural ingredients really quick. So, it's really important that we are using those types of things on our body and not using the synthetics. So, natural essences, plants, herbs, they raise your vibration, and it's really a very good thing. You can actually set an intention in your shower while you're, scrubbing your body, and um then just rinse off any negativity and imagine it going down the drain. So when we use natural things, it really helps increase our light and raise our vibration.
yes, it's very important now for us to realize that truly our surroundings are based on our consciousness. And
Mhm.
when we come in contact with different objects, no matter what the object is, it starts to take on our energy. This is taught in Franz Barden's work, but also because you are conscious and you're close to these objects, it's picking up on your vibration. So, what are you resonating? Are you resonating in a positive manner? These are the things that I'm constantly going over in my mind. Like, how am I feeling? I do self check in sometimes. I'm like, wait a minute.
That's important. Yeah.
Yes. Mostly I am like staying up here. I might not be in my highest where I'm just like, ooh, but I'm pretty stable, just up in my awareness, in my level of joy. You know, there's
Mhm.
sometimes where I feel like it comes down, and I'll notice this is the correlations that I make. I don't know if you do this, Kara, but when I eat specific foods, if I eat meat, for example, I may drop down in not only energy level, but sometimes it makes me depressed. That's why I'm like, I can't do meat. I can't do.
Everything you consume, everything you wear, everything you surround yourself with, it all has a vibration. Me, I love secondhand shopping. I do. It's important for me to try to save money and all of those things. But you need to do, particularly with jewelry, is you need to cleanse it before you wear it. You need to make it your own and charge it with a good intention, because things that, like you said, Ellen, they have vibration, they have energy. Everything does. And that energy rubs off on us when we wear things or when we're around things. And there's also things you can do to help sort of like shield yourself from other people when you're out and about. Because we're interacting in other people's energy fields all day long, and some of them aren't great. And of course, they have attachments. A lot of people have attachments, and they're just not aware of it. They're not aware
Mhm.
of it. In fact, there are some symptoms of it. I'll just throw a couple of them out where, um, if you're craving food you don't normally crave, or you're noticing you're getting very angry where as to where you didn't normally get angry, and it has nothing to do with any particular situation, because we all go through stuff, but just random, and it might be really subtle. And so anyway, there are ways you can get rid of that. So
Yes, absolutely. So I have to share that, I've been going to these meetings lately that are spiritually inclined, and I met actually some other people. There was one person who was very famous as far as the medical industry goes. I think her name is Northrop. She was at this event. It's a private RSVP party, but I was in the presence of another couple that does exorcisms, and they live in California. I was not able to actually go and interact with them because I didn't stay at the party very long, but I did get to meet another person who lives here in Georgia who also performs these spiritual releasement therapies from entities. And I really wanted to talk to her, so I will be having a Zoom. She's invited me to her 5D chess channel that she has on YouTube. And we're going to be talking about some of these things where it's about spiritual releasement, a spirit releasement where an entity might be attached, or even the things that are happening today with the government system. Um, there's so much happening, and I've been meeting so many people on so many levels that are spiritually awake, and they're so overjoyed when we get to meet, because
That's wonderful.
we are in need to connect. Like, we need to magnetize now, and I believe that's what's happening, especially with the women, because we are magnetic.
We are.
The women is the yin energy, that's the magnetism. And so now we're coming together to each other, while the men are starting to kind of take a back seat in the spiritual sense. Not completely. There are men that are coming online and coming awake, but they're starting to like recede from their positions of power, because we're seeing it in Saudi Arabia and all of the Middle Eastern countries where the women are actually getting out. They can vote, they can go out and do all these things and be part of government systems. And, this is where the transformation comes from the yang male dominated society into the female dominated society that's in the future. So I think
There's a
it's,
book called Spiritual Releasement Therapy,
yes,
actually,
yes.
and I've read it. It's wonderful. There's a doctor, a psychologist, psychiatrist, who just case after case after case went from a skeptic to a believer in, attachments of people who have committed serious crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, to the point where, he's being talked to in other voices, and not just, I mean, knowing things that that other person could not have known. So this stuff is real, and we need to be aware of it, and we need to protect ourselves and raise our vibration. Yeah.
That's really ultimately what it's about. So when you have the eyes to see that everything that has been done to us in the past is for this dampening of our light, the light that we emit from our chakras, that it's allowing these entities to then grab a hold of our chakra system. Usually they're at the navel. This is what I've found. I don't know if there's maybe other chakras that they can attach to, but
It can
usually.
attach to all of them. There's one in the back of the head that's very in the back that's very
Mhm.
common. It's actually a wind, it's called a wind gate in traditional Chinese medicine. And yes, like the navel. There's so many. It's a lot. It's a lot. But yes, the navel is definitely
Well,
one.
it seems to be like, especially when they're lower astral entities, that
Hmm.
the lower chakras is what they want to try to move in on. So, I mean, that's just, been my observation from all of this. And um, I just want to say that poisoning the food, the air, the water, poisoning us through pharmakia, uh, dampening our energy by wearing synthetic fabrics. The colors that we wear also affect our auric field. Everything, when you look outwardly at the world and you're questioning why are they doing what they're doing? Why is this darkness trying to destroy the light? Well, is because they worship darkness and they want to see the darkness rule, because of course, as we know, Saturn rules the age of Aquarius and Capricorn. So we're going to see this for a while, where outwardly in the world it's going to seem like things are kind of chaotic, especially right now since we're in transformation, but it's going to level out. Now, I don't know about you, Kara. I don't know how much you keep up with all of the digital currency, but they're throwing out hundreds of them right now. Like you can grab onto literally any type of digital currency and it will start to mine its own coin, Coinbase. It's an air and it's an item of air that's not backed by anything. So it has no true foundation in our reality, except for the fact that it's made up, money. It's an idea. But people are making a lot of money off of it. Now, it's going to be wonderful in the beginning, but later down the line, it's going to be used as a means of control because they have to get us hooked on this system. So right now it's a free for all.
Yeah, I mean, there's something coming where, I think our whole system is about to be restructured.
Mhm.
And I still think it's up in the air whether that restructuring is going to be good or bad. All of it is also written in the stars. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a Pluto return coming. There's some, conjunctions and things coming where life could change dramatically. And all we can do is focus on ourselves
Yes.
and raise our own vibration. And by doing that, the people that, we've talked about this before, the people around us will see our light and be like, oh, well, what are you doing? Why are you looking so healthy? Why are you so happy? What's going on? I want that too. And so then you're able to, then share some of your knowledge and wisdom.
Well, and then, so I don't get all this dark dystopian stuff all the time. I've obviously created my own space, and this is what I encourage everyone to do right now. Realize and recognize that you are a character in someone's story. Now, you can either become the author of your own story by stepping out and going, none of this stuff matters to me. I'm going to create my own timeline. Like what I'm now embracing is some other timeline. And it's based in the Buddhism timeline, which you can go on your computer. And if you change the country that you are residing in, it will subsequently change the date, which involves the year cycle. So in the Buddhist timeline right now, it might be the 4th or 5th of June, but it's the year 2567 BE. Now, what I've learned about this is that back during Constantine's reign, he created a new timeline that's based in this Gregorian calendar that we've been following. He advanced the years about just under 300 years to the year 1000. And when he did that, he said, everyone who's born in our new timeline is now owned by our story. You've become characters in someone else's story. So I was thinking about this and I'm like, since we've become characters in someone else's story, and this is how they've created the birth certificate trust, SESTQV trust in our dead name and all of this. I said, well, if we change timelines, then we're no longer susceptible to their story. Now we're jumping into, if it's Buddhism or Coptic or whatever, you change your calendar date to, then you're in another timeline because time
I
doesn't
think it's
exist.
interesting that you just brought up Constantine. I was just watching a video the other day by Robert Sepher,
Mhm.
Sepner, for anybody who's interested. And he was talking about Constantine and how he, supposedly saw the cross in the sky and, converted to Christianity and all of those things that he did. And he actually died a pagan. His monuments that were erected in his honor were covered in the pagan symbolism,
Hmm.
which, is he only used the Christianity piece for control. It
Yep.
was really an interesting video, and I encourage people to watch some of his stuff. It just gives you another perspective.
Well, and it's important to have many different perspectives. This is
It
why,
is.
I want to encourage people just to step out, create your own story, be the author of your own story. It's going to be challenging for us to try to do it outside of the auspices of this thing that we've been a part of for so long, all of our lives. But when you become like, you know that you came to be a creator, and that now you have the capability to come out and begin your own narrative in your own style, in your own way, and you imbibe that wholeheartedly with a pure heart, now the universe is going to respond to your thoughts, and it's going to start manifesting the things that you wish to see. But you have to play with the mind of a child, the openness of a child. Let me tell you what happened. So I'm always doing, Aquarian things, or whatever sign I imbibe. I'm going to embrace Aquarian just because that's all I've known. I went out the other day at night, actually. It was at night, and I looked up the sky and I saw the biggest, fluffiest cloud. I was like, oh my gosh, I love fluffy clouds. That's just my thing. And of course, I could see the stars. And I said, you know what? I'm going to play with this cloud. And I started swooshing, swooshing as I'm doing my breath. I'm just going, I'm doing inhale, exhale through the nostrils, as Marcel Vogel has stated that it creates these sine waves of energy that are very powerful. So as I'm doing this, the cloud starts to have this swoop through it. Like if you had a paintbrush and just went whoosh, and whisked it through the cloud. And then
I think that's great.
I
So, I
said,
mean, oh my gosh.
I'm going to start like pinching that one top where it was kind of swooped. I said, I'm going to start pinching it now like a duck beak. And I started pinching and pinching and pinching. And the thing started responding to my thoughts because I was playing with it with like a child would. But this is
We
what
need
they
to
don't
encourage
want to
more
know.
people. More people need to try these things and see what happens. Just like you said, the mind of a child, they're so innocent and so open, and the possibilities are just endless, the wonders of the world. I've noticed myself that things are manifesting much quicker now. And I can't remember if it was a year or two ago where we were talking, just you and I privately, about the plants that were manifesting in
Mhm,
our yard. And then I think we talked about it online too. Um, but aside from that, I'm noticing things that I will think of or need or whatever, and they'll pop up in my life. On the flip side of that, I've also noticed a lot of people exiting this
mhm,
life right now. A lot
mhm.
of people,
Yes.
just in my, world, and people who know people who know people, there seems to be a lot of that as well.
Hmm.
So it's interesting, very interesting. Things seem to be speeding up.
Well, I get it because time itself is not really speeding up. The Great Awakening is because we
Yes.
are like a mushroom forest where you get a few that have popped awake and popped open now exponentially because we're all connected. That's what the universe is, the
We
one
so
void.
are.
Now it's like, and then more will be like, and
Yep.
it's going to be exponential. And this is what they were trying to stop all these days, like during all these years. That's why they shifted the timeline. They wanted to say, okay, we own these people, we control them, we're going to like throw the book at them to try to make this great awakening stop, because they knew when it was going to happen. That's the whole thing.
It's
We
happening, Ellen. I have young people that, have come to me and look and said, and I'm going to talk about 911 that happened many years ago, is what I'm talking about, that they never knew. They're opening their eyes to alternative scenarios about that situation, and coming to about, "Well, what is this? Did you ever hear about this?" Yes, yes, I did. And so the awakening is happening. People are opening their eyes and going, wow, maybe this world isn't what we think it is. And that's a very good thing. It's a very
Yeah.
good thing.
Well, the
And
dark
if you and I can help, that's even better.
Well, that's the whole reason for us being here, is to talk about all the weird things in the world so that we can help plant seeds, for other people to research these things. And, I'm all for people not believing me at all. What I hope to do during my whole quest for truth, or whatever it is, just sharing knowledge that I find, is to plant seeds for people to go, oh, let me take this, let me go look at this. And let me research and see what I can find. Because listen, we're only here in this moment, and we can only know what we know in this moment. Tomorrow is a different day. So I reserve the right to change my mind about whatever facts I think I've found. Tomorrow, it could be completely wiped off the map. And hey, look, there's a new idea here. But that's the whole point, is like, we need to stop the judgment of others based on what gnosis they have in this moment. And
Mhm.
so that's where I am with the whole thing, is like just knowing that, hey, tomorrow's a different day. What's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know.
What are we going to learn tomorrow? And you and I are on a constant quest for knowledge where we study
Absolutely.
just always and try to learn and, this put it all together. And, it's quite the process. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Listen, you
Process.
just see the things I've come across, I mean, when I get into etymology, I'm like, oh my gosh, you should see the content. Like my computer tabs, I have like three. If you just scroll three times, that's how many tabs I have on all the subjects that I truly need to be getting out and expressed to people. Because when you get into the etymology, it starts changing literally everything that we think we know about things, like
Ellen,
calendar.
that is so big. I mean, that could be a whole
Uh,
podcast in itself. We should do that where we just break down different words.
oh
And
my.
so my discoveries have come where um, sound and vibration and planetary influences really encompass the whole of everything,
Yes.
create everything. And so when I say sound and vibration, the words that we speak, when we think we're saying something good, but it turns out that we're actually cursing somebody.
Yes.
And so that's
Yes.
what I mean by sound and vibration, and that's
Yes.
etymology. And, our vocabulary, we are special because we can speak.
Mhm.
That's why we're creators. I
Yes.
cannot remember what book I always say that. I can't remember what book I was reading, but it's in a book somewhere.
No.
But anyway, it talks about that really the magic of our voice and our intention combined. I mean, we can work wonders if we only knew we had the capability to do that. And if we need to do a video on this. I'm serious because if we stop using the English language,
Mhm.
let me give you an example. The word bless.
Oh, yeah.
Bless you when you sneeze. I say gesundheit, but when
Yes.
you say bless you, so first of all, bless, be less, and I talked about this a long time ago, but just to refresh some people's memory who maybe haven't seen it. Also, bless, when you look way back, it means blood sacrifice. And so, or you just really need to know what you're saying before, you just throw things out there.
Yeah,
So anyway,
exactly. And it's just like morning, good morning. Are you
yeah,
really sorrowful?
yeah,
Are you
right?
not enjoy today? Because that's what morning is.
Morning. Yeah.
You're
Oh, there's
mourning the
so
loss.
many. We need to come up with a list of words and just talk
And just,
about the
yes,
words.
yes,
Yes.
mortgage, your
Mm-hmm.
death grip on your home. I mean, all of these things are always associated with the darkness. And
Mm-hmm.
your mind just goes, oh my gosh, it's literally everywhere. And they made us part of their ritual. That's why I encourage people to start becoming the author of their own story, because you are going to be the seed for the future plant of energy tomorrow if you start writing your own story today.
So
So,
one little example, Ellen, I love what you do. You're very bold, writing all the stuff that you write on your, mortgage or your bills as you send it in. And, not all of us are strong enough to do that, and that's okay. But for instance, something you could do, let's say when you have to update your phone or your computer or whatever, and it gives you a 2,500 paragraph sentence of I and you have to consent or you are not able to use the technology, every time I do that, I say out loud, I do not consent. And then I click the button. I mean,
yes,
something as small as that,
yep,
just because you're putting your energy out there and you're letting them know that what they're saying is not okay with you because
yes,
you're being forced to do it against your will. And we
exactly.
do have free will here. And if we continue to exercise our free will by saying, no, I do not consent. It doesn't mean you don't have to get the app, but just don't consent to it.
Yes.
So there you go.
Your voice it goes out into the air. What we consider air is actually the ether, and it
It is.
creates in trust. Trust is air, okay? Anything that you put in trust is in air, and it goes out into the ether and creates in air. So if you're stating something, and especially when you're dealing with some of these, I call them road pirates now. It says policy on their cars. It does not say police. It says policy. If you're dealing with road pirates of any kind, you can tell them, listen, I do not consent to contract. And
Yeah.
you can ask them when they pull you over, they are detaining you. But this is a corporate, like basically a commercial detainment. And when you realize this, you realize they really don't have any power over you. You consent to contract with them by allowing them to detain you. But
Because
when
you
you,
still haven't had to pay that ticket, have you?
oh no,
I
no.
didn't think so.
I got to share this though. So I went to Indian Springs today to draw the water from the state park. This is one thing I learned. Anything that says state is a reference to Rome. Anything. It doesn't matter.
That makes
State of
sense.
Georgia, state of this, that, there, the, state parks that Rome took over. Okay. This is where we are. Rome has the law of the sea, which they blanketed over our entire government system. This is why we are where we are. So I go to this park today and I just want to get the water. I don't want to go to the park, I'm going in, parking, getting the water, and I'm going to leave. I get a ticket on my car that says I didn't pay the $5 to park there. I don't have like the little ticket stub or whatever. Anyway, I said, oh, great. They were trying to get me to contract. So I said, your citation is what they're calling it. If I didn't pay, they gave me a warning, but they said, if you don't pay this, it's going to be a citation. I said, your citation is an offer to contract in a corporate arrangement. And I said, your offer to contract is declined. So I signed it with a specific way to sign. I do not write in cursive anymore because that's law of the sea. And then I put all rights reserved. I put my new timeline date, which is the 5th of June, 2567 BE. And then I put the Gregorian date as the 6/5/24. So I wrote out Gregorian date on there so they know
I
that
just love this about you, Ellen. You have no fear.
I know how to handle this stuff now. And I'm telling you, their law of the sea does not apply to living beings upon the land. When you realize this, that a corporation cannot go to court with a living being, and that all you need to do is learn the right words to say when you step into a courtroom, just don't consent to anything they say. You say, I don't consent. I do not consent and I do not understand. So they'll throw you out. You don't want to understand someone because they're getting you to stand under. They're like, hey, you're going to stand under us. And I'm like, no, I don't.
I know, no, I am not.
I don't understand you. But yeah, basically, you do not consent to contract with the corporate entity. And when you don't consent to contract, they have zero power, zero over you, because all they're trying to do is trick you with black magic mind spelling to get to contract. I'm not that corporate entity that they put in all capital letters. And I let them know that in so many words. And it's so empowering. Listen, when you go down this trail, it's like, and I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney because I don't work for the bar, which is the corporate crown that they're trying to get everybody attached to. I'm not that. So I don't give legal advice, which is also a corporate term. I'm like,
It's all
I will
corporate.
teach
Everything is
people
a corporation. Everything.
well, that's all they've done. But the thing is, these people that just wanted a job as our acting government did not give a vow of an oath of office. They did not take a bond, which is an oath, which means they're not insured in case they damage you in the man versus man aspect of common law. So I'm like, you know what? the next person who tries to harass me, I can actually sue them. If a officer, one of these financial officers for the court system of the Maritime Admiralty Law, if they detain you or they arrest you, you can sue the man for violation of a man-on-man, trespass. And I'm like,
Wow.
yes, this you don't sue
That's
the police
fascinating.
station, you sue the individual. Corporate contracts do not apply. A corporation cannot go toe to toe against a living being. And I'm like, hallelujah, because they actually represent a dead legal fiction. They're a dead entity. They don't exist. So I was like, there's our power. There's our loophole for literally everything in this existence. And how can we use this? Because it's so basic and so simple. Like nature is simple. I
Mm.
actually have a Bill of Rights book that I'm like, I'm going to keep this with me because it states there is no law that's ever made, even man-made laws, that supersedes natural law. And I'm like,
That's great.
yes,
People need to know this and read these things so that they can come back into their power.
yes, we have been lost in darkness because darkness is ignorance when we do not know the knowledge and the truth of what's been done. So I'm that person that experiments with all of these things. And I'm like, I'm going to teach someone else. When we go toe to toe in a courtroom or whatever happens, I'm going to be teaching someone else what the truth is. And that is good enough for me. I'm not out there to try to be like a show off or anything. I'm just going to stick up for what is true. And I am divergent enough to say, hey, I'm not going to pay a $5 fee because my taxes are already paying for the state parks all across Georgia. That's why I pay
Right.
Georgia taxes. We're actually perpetuating the lies. And this is a problem. When are we going to actually step in our power once we have the knowledge and use it to our benefit to teach others? That's where I am in my gnosis. So,
Well, I feel like the system's going to come down,
mhm,
reasonably soon, possibly. And, I just want to encourage people not to be afraid. And I also want to encourage people do be wise and just kind of like if you lived in a hurricane area, make sure you have, enough food and water for your families for, a few months. Because, we don't know what things are going to look like when, there's a change or whatever. I do know that I don't want to live in these 15-minute cities. I just don't. I don't think unless I'm wrong and unless it's some sort of, utopia with the what is it, the universal basic income and everybody can follow their path and be happy and all of that, great. I just encourage everybody just to, be be the light that you want other people to see and be wise in your actions and you know pay attention to what's going on out there.
absolutely. So, you know, there's a lot of things because at least by the Western zodiac chart that I have that has little slogans for each age. And for one of the slogans for the age of Aquarius, it says there's going to be multiplication. This is one of the alchemy things too, is there's going to be multiplication on all levels. So we're seeing this multiplication not only in the Great Awakening, like everybody's going coming online, but we also have all this digital coin, which is also about mind coming online. It's going just hundreds of them are just popping up everywhere now. And by the same token, we're seeing a lot of souls leave multiplication in that regard. I try to make these associations with what I see. I'm like, absolutely. So this energy is shifting and changing us into a new energy and dynamic for the changes that need to be made right now. Because again, I'll state this again and again that we're going to be challenged to either join with the metaverse or join with the metaphysical. A lot of people that are not spiritually based in their foundations are going to be choosing the metaverse.
Because they don't
And
know any better. They don't know that they have the power and that
yes,
we just shed our meat suit and we do live forever. You don't have to be plugged into a computer. The Bible says they will long for death and it shall not
yes,
come. I
yeah,
say that all the time. Don't make that mistake, guys. Don't do it. Tell
yeah.
people, please.
No, it's like, don't sell out. But here's what I do comprehend about that, Kara, is that the darkness can only hold you back from your progress of soul. I don't believe that they can hold your soul forever. I believe
No, of
it's like
course
they're
not.
going to hold you in time, because that's what Saturn represents, as time.
Time.
And with the technology that we imbibe, it's a black Saturnian cube, and it will hold your mind, your consciousness in time just by using it. You waste time going through all of these different, social media apps or whatever it is that's, pulling you into its system, getting you addicted to that concept. But
Mhm.
you want to try to remain balanced in both worlds, at least if you're going to use this on a regular basis, or if you have to use it for work or whatever it is you do. Don't lose yourself completely is all I can suggest. But the soul desires whatever experience is out here.
And we are here to fulfill that based on our, past karma, which is either merits or demerits of the things that you have already done. And, I don't think there's anything wrong with technology. In fact, I think it could be quite beneficial. But like you said, when it goes into a dark place, when you've wasted your whole day going like this, and, instead of contributing something great, instead of, making cookies with your kids or going for a walk with your significant other and smelling the air and feeling the breeze in your hair, that's the kind of stuff we really need to get back to. We really need to remember nature because I feel like we're forgetting. They want you to forget where you came from. The earth is essentially like our mother. It takes care of us, it nurtures us, energetically. I mean, the Schumann resonance is the heartbeat of the earth. This is a scientific thing. They've done studies where people, when they're locked underground, they don't do okay. Like they're mentally become very unstable very quickly.
Hmm.
And we have to connect with the earth. We have to connect with our mother and to be healthy and to be well. Of course, we can have technology. It's good, but you have to incorporate nature. It's of the utmost importance.
Well, it's also to honor and give reverence to nature as a child would, just if you can become childlike in your mind, watch how the world responds to your thoughts. It becomes a very beautiful place. So there is a suggested activity that you can do. And there's a guy from the UK who actually started the synchronicity walk. I don't know if you've heard of this, Kara. But
No,
I did this years ago. I went to downtown Atlanta and I had a spiritual group at the time. And I said, hey, I'm going to be hosting a synchronicity walk. So what you do is you take a pair of dice and you go into any public space and you make up the rules of the game as you go along. So my rules were, okay, I'm going to roll the dice and the dice is going to decide which direction we're going to go. So if it's left, for example, it's going to be 1 through 3. And then if it's right, it's going to be 4 through 8. And if it's, straight or back or wherever, I would just make up the numbers up to 12. So then we started to roll the dice and play the game. And each person took a turn and they could make up their game, whichever way they wanted to do it whenever we took turns. You cannot make up the things that happen as the universe unfolds before your eyes. This is about releasing control and just allowing the energies to speak for themselves. The experiences that you have, you cannot make stuff up. you know, and it becomes a beautiful, fruitful day, filled with joy and amazement. And that's the way we should be living our lives every single day. But we don't,
Absolutely.
because we're giving our time up to a Saturnian nightmare right now, because it's like we're slaves to someone else's story. I don't want to
We
be
get
a slave
lost and we
anymore.
forget.
Yes, the day-to-day grind of having to pay bills. I believe all of this stuff is about to become undone, at least in the sense that not only will truth come and the people will take back the power, because I've already seen that. That's coming for our government system. There's going to be two governments running until this other government is squeezed out again. But the money, even if you begin to accept the fact that we have digital coins, right now, you stand to make a lot of money and it makes itself. And so this is where the abundance is actually going to come from. Now, I do also, I suggest and am suspicious of, we're going to have a gold standard very soon that's going to be tied to some of the digital wallets, because of the way it's been so far, where anybody can make money and it doesn't really have an intrinsic value.
Yeah,
But
I think it will be backed by precious metals, not just gold, but
yes,
like silver, copper, mines,
yes.
things like that. I do believe that. Yeah.
Those are the things that we're going to be looking for. That's really where you want to put your vested interest in, is something that has some asset attached to it.
Some
Otherwise,
value.
Otherwise, it can just be manipulated and controlled, which is what's
Mhm.
happening right now. But people are playing with it to learn the systems. And, that's okay too. My brother actually just put $200 into Shiba Inu coins and something else. And he was totally against this whole thing, like I have been. And I'm like, you know what? It makes sense. If you can make a lot of money, which is what's going to happen, you can then cash out, get the money, and then you've got a sustainable thing for that moment
Right.
until the monetary system completely changes over, because we're using paper bills. We're not using legitimate currency or money, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure what the appropriate term is, because money is venom if you spell it backwards. And then currency, the current of the sea, is the water of the Vatican. So it's commercial. So we got to come up with a new term, I guess. But that is all about to shift. And
Well, do you know that pretty soon, so we're on the petrodollar. Our dollars are in fact sort of in a way backed by oil. Um, Only because if you were to really do a deep dive on that, we have agreements with them and, all this stuff. Well, they're expected to announce within the next 90 days that instead of only, because right now they will only take US dollars it for exchange. Well, that's about to change.
oh yeah.
And in about 90 days, they are now going to take anybody's payment.
Mhm.
And there's speculation that that could completely crash the dollar and we could have hyperinflation. If you're interested in that whole world, I've said this before, Adapt ADAPT 2030 is a really good person to watch on YouTube. I also like his name's Canadian Prepper. And I feel like it's good to be aware of what's going on in the world. I bet if you ask most people, they would go, "Oh, really?" They didn't, they wouldn't know. And
It's true.
so, like I said, and this goes back to you need to kind of have some things for a few months in case things get really weird.
Well, you know that we're going to be seeing some big events this fall, because it's a presidential election year, election or selection. I say
There's
selection.
speculation there isn't even going to be an election, and this is astrologically.
Well,
There's a person that I really like. He's my favorite Vedic astrologer. His name is Jeff Harmon, and he does a video every Monday on YouTube. And I really really like him. He's a lot. He's clear. Let me just say that. So if you're interested, check him out. And no, I don't know him or anything. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, there's actually some good channels, and I was listening to this one woman who, I can't remember her name right now. She was talking about all of this digital world that's coming online, and what they're truly trying to do is manipulate all of the assets, the land, the water, all of these things, and get them into this whole green movement thing to where they can control absolutely every natural resource there is, and attach it with a value to a digital coin, and especially places
Yeah.
like in South America where the people aren't as well informed as we are in first world nations about some of the things that are going on. They can be easily manipulated, like Peru, and where she was down in I don't think it was Chile, but yeah, these countries where people aren't as savvy about some of this technology and where it's going, and where these oligarchs are trying to pull the strings to, they're trying to absolutely control everything in this existence, which is just like what they say. Darkness wants to control the consciousness of the light, but the light wants free will, and that's what's been here forever. So
Well, remember we were talking, about all the land grabs that have been happening for the past
yes.
several years. I think I told you I heard years ago that all the vegetation, everything, every different species of tree and everything that is known actually has been barcoded. Because what they're doing is they're going to attach your, um, what is it, it's like a carbon footprint.
Mhm.
Because this is again, this was years ago. And then the first time I saw it, I was buying something online and it says, it made a reference to how much carbon you're spending or using or whatever. Do you want to offset that? So everything you buy, let's say a steak has a carbon tax of $20 versus something else that has a carbon tax of $1, and everything's tied to your digital credit score. So in China, you have to, well, we've talked about this, you have to say certain things, you have to be very politically correct, you have to act a certain way,
Mhm.
um, which is very unhealthy to have to suppress
Yes.
your natural, feelings. And so anyway, all of this ties into those smart cities, those 15-minute cities that, we've been talking about. They're already up and running. This is not a, conspiracy, whatever. This is factual. Look into it. And people need to be aware and they need to not consent. I can see some of the benefits to having seeing crime in real time and, people not littering and things of that nature. But so that's the good part, but there's a bad part to all of it too, where it's complete and total control. And I think it will be veiled under, you know, the guise of something good or beneficial. So, rather than just accepting everything blindly, oh yeah, let's give up this right or whatever it is, because like the electric cars that pollute everything. I mean, if people did a deep dive on that, they wouldn't buy them anymore. Not
Mhm.
to mention they could just flip a switch and not run.
Yeah.
So I don't know, people just need to start really paying attention and take their head out of their phone and turn the TV off.
Well, that's the good thing about a lot of the people that are subscriber to my channel. I mean, they're pretty much aware on many levels, and they're just looking for more, seeds to
Mhm.
grab onto to say, hey, we need to expand our awareness. People are always giving compliments to the things that I add. And I know there's people that don't like what I say, and that's fine too. I
Okay.
accept everyone for whoever they are. I don't have any problem with people that want to, say something or complain or whatever. Hey, you're you and I'm me, and I just want to share whatever's out here to try to help people see,
Mhm.
because that's really what we're all one consciousness ultimately. Every single one of us, we are nothing more than a kaleidoscope. And each of us imbibes that little bitty tiny color that spins around in that sequence, that little dance of color within the oneness of the scope itself.
They
So,
say that when you're hating something about somebody else, that actually that is could possibly be a fault of your own deep within.
mhm,
So just, put that out there. What next time you get road rage or all the people that make you mad for whatever reason, that's normal, that's natural, but just take a step back for a second, go, okay, just breathe and
yes.
what are they going through? What happened to them that made them have a bad day? And what do I do that's similar, you know?
Well, too, it's also about reminding yourself that all of life is just a mirror. You're looking at a reflection of yourself all the time. So, do you want to be someone that's beautiful and happy in the world as a soul that's just lit up in joy and see other people as they're on their own independent journey and they are where you may have used to be in the past? And you honor that and you go, wow, I see you. I see who you are because I was there once upon a time.
I have done that multiple times.
Mhm.
It's amazing when you begin this little journey, what you start to observe because you're like, wow, I used to be just like that, or exactly.
But then you just remind yourself that you're in a grand play and you came to play a particular character. Who do you want to truly imbibe? Well, while we're here, dealing with the character we came to play, we're supposed to be, or at least if you want to be, in the great work, you're supposed to work on yourself. It's an alchemical change within yourself to imbibe the better aspects, to correct the things that may challenge others too. Like, oh, maybe I need to look at something in myself. If I get triggered or if I get emotionally like charged from some situation, I need to stop and check myself and say, what is that about that action from whether it's someone else or something that happens? What is it that's actually bothering me? And when you're can become that honest, that's where the growth, the potential for growth is like exponential in that moment when you
It
can
really is.
accept that. So it makes things change in a great way. I mean, it's just like going to court, it always gives you a negative vibe on some level. But now that I've like illuminated my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want the best possible outcome, whether it's this or that. I'm like, no, and I elevate to the level of joy inwardly. Oh my gosh. And then guess what? The best possible outcome happens. So you can
I'll
do.
be honest with you, a lot of those, what you would consider magical rituals, really are just there to focus your intent. And, there are a lot of things people can do to help themselves in court. There are things people can do to help themselves in their home, in their work, to help bring prosperity, to help bring, you know, abundance to their lives, lots of different things. So,
What's funny is so I listen to this. I have a CD that I purchased from the the app Pandora, and it's called Liquid Bloom. And one of the songs in there says, there's like just a guy here, and he says, life is the ritual, you are the medicine. And I said, you know what? That's very powerful, actually.
it
So
is.
everything, you got to look at it from this perspective. Everything is magic.
Mhm,
Everything that we do is a ritual.
it
This is
is.
why we have channels. This is why we cast spells, spelling,
Mhm.
all this magical symbolism and words. This is a Harry Potter reality that we are just now waking up to again because they did it.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to learn to play the game, there are things you can do that help you.
Yes, yes. So, wake up to your own magic. Wake up on and see that everything that you do every day, you call it habits, but it's actually a ritual. So
Mhm.
you're repeating the processes in a regular way, a regular pattern. It's a ritual.
Yeah.
So, but But yet
I know, and
you
keep in
wanted
mind,
to do tarot, didn't you?
huh?
Did you want to do tarot too?
Oh,
Did you
now?
have your
No, I don't
cards?
have any.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Do you want to? I mean, on your end?
No, I mean whatever, because you had mentioned that you wanted to like do a tarot, but anyway, you were about to say something.
Oh, I was gonna say, everything, we can use the natural world to our benefit. God put things here for us to use and help us. So, for instance, the black tourmaline. This is a wonderful crystal. And Ellen, I know how much you love crystals. It's a wonderful crystal to use to help absorb negative energy or to grid your house with, or, to wear or keep in your pocket as like a personal protection stone. And remember what I learned from you about the cleansing with the Marcel Vogel with the breath,
Mhm.
how you just cleanse it and then you charge it with your intention. These things give everything around us gives off a vibration, okay, a subtle energy that's either beneficial or detrimental. And based on how, that's why feng shui in your home or your office or your car, that's important to learn how to arrange your space that is most beneficial to you, or wear jewelry based on your horoscope that's beneficial to you. Have things that that can protect or ward your area. These things are people need to be educated on this, so they can help themselves.
And it's truly about the different colors give off
Yeah.
different frequencies.
Mhm.
Based on Marcel Vogel's studies, he said that the stone wasn't the same as the actual crystals pulled from the earth, whether it be amethyst or smoky quartz or just a clear quartz crystal, they had different capabilities, basically the same thing, but some of the different colors actually added a different effect for the actual quartz crystals. Um, but he said the stones didn't give off a particular effect as far as with his breath work that he was trying to use and his transcendental meditations that he would do. He couldn't get the same readings with the equipment that he had, which doesn't mean that it didn't store his energy somehow. But
Mhm.
um, what I have learned is that gemstones are Jinn stones, Djinn, and that because I guess they are my suspicion is that they are somehow linked to the particular gin that represents the color, like somehow they're tied to the color and the energy of these stones. And this, they tell us in the Marvel movies, when Thanos has that hand, he has that glove with all of the chakra color gemstones in his hand, and he's able to control time and space and do all these things, is because he's controlling also the jinn who are in the
I can
spirit realm.
explain that actually. So remember, there are good jinn and
Mhm.
there are bad jinn, just like with everything, angels and demons, yada, yada, yada. The stones, the gemstones, we will use blue sapphire as an example. Blue sapphire is tied to the planet Saturn. Okay. And what it does is that in Vedic astrology, gemstones are quite helpful for you. Let's say if you have a very negatively placed Saturn, and Saturn teaches us really hard lessons. And Saturn is not all negative, but it is about control and it is about again, we're beings, we learn from our mistakes, we make a lot of mistakes. It gives us learning experiences, let's put it that way. And what the gemstone does is it helps to, I'll use the word filter the energy that Saturn is, the vibration that it's giving to our body. Okay. And so if there is a gin. I'm not sure if it's attached to the stone itself or if it's, I know there are, we can call them gin attached to the planets. If you read Franz Barton's book, that's very mind opening and it all makes sense. But anyway, these gemstones are very, very beneficial. Same with, different crystals and things for the body, for your spirit, and for your path here on this earth. In fact, a lot of the yogis wore them.
Mhm. Yeah, well, apparently there is some power there. And, just coming across some of this gnosis, I figured this might be why they put particular stones in a crown, because crown represents
Absolutely.
Saturn. A golden crown would represent the sun and Saturn combined. And
Same with
then
the breastplate. Remember the breast?
yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they used bejeweled objects for a reason.
Yeah.
And
And
I believe,
this information has been hidden from us,
yeah.
Ellen, and it's now coming to light thanks to things like YouTube. This information has been around for thousands and thousands of years, but when was the last time you heard that, and I don't care who you are, I don't care if you believe it or not, the planets are affecting you. The moon, changes the tides. So if you think they don't affect you, you've got another thing coming. And so they are put here for our benefit. And so we're just now being able to share this really, really important information.
Yeah, well, it's my intention to figure out the planetary hours and the constellation hours and all of that
I
stuff.
can help you with that.
Yeah, and I
We need to
have,
sit down and we need to do a whole chart. I mean, it takes like
yes.
2 hours and I can tell you your gemstones and all of that. And then it gets very, very deep.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
I'll do that.
I came across, some of the imagery that they have for these charts and things for learning that process. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I came across the information about the 72 names of God,
They're
which
all tied to angels. Yes.
and it's angels and demons though too.
Yeah,
So
it
because
is.
I found in one of the other books that I have, I think it's the Picatrix, that
Ah, it's a good book.
there's 72 names of demons.
Mhm. What
And
it's a balance of both, and it
yes,
just depends on what you're using and incorporating into your
yes,
life.
exactly. It's just like saying, I'm gonna summon Ellen right now. Now, what mood is Ellen in? It's like,
Right?
is she in a good mood? Do you want to use her energy as a good thing, or do you want to try to agitate her and get her in a bad mood? I mean, it's kind of like you could do it that way too.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
so I've been learning a lot though. There's always something to learn.
Oh, that's
Uh,
so
It
my,
gets
my.
deep and it's so like, what? There's all these things to consider, and I'm allowing the daily process to just unfold before me instead of trying to force it or control it. And I'm like, you know what? Today I feel like this, and tomorrow I might feel like that. So I'll just go
Well,
with
like I was telling you the other day, my truth today may not be my truth tomorrow based on what I learn,
information.
what I experience. So
Absolutely.
yeah, this universe is ever changing, ever fluid, and we're all just trying to wade through it and figure out
I
the
know.
best way.
I know. We have so much to talk about and share with people though. And we're coming down the wire, I guess, now with our next they're gonna kick us out.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's plan on this again and let's maybe talk about the etymology of words. I mean, things that people use all the time that we can say, "Hey, use this one instead." Like me with the bless. I don't use that word anymore. Um,
No, no.
yeah, let's do
We'll
that.
do a
That'll be a good
suggested,
one.
oh,
Or
like write, WRITE. I
mhm.
now use scribe instead. Like I'm trying to get away from ritual, which is RITE, which is to
Mhm.
write, writing rituals. I'm now using scribe and
Yep,
going
there's so
back.
many. There's so many.
Yes, absolutely. We have like
Okay.
5 minutes. So, but yes, and again, share your email and your website information if you have a website.
Oh, it's lostwaysfound@gmail.com.
Okay.
And I do astrology and, you know, gemstones. I can help with,
Sound
that. I can.
healing, you do sound bath healing things?
Oh, yes,
Mm.
I'm a sound therapist,
Yeah.
although, uh, I don't know how many people live here in Nevada, but,
Well, you know what, Kara? Time and space doesn't really exist.
so
So,
I know it's all quantum, and
yeah.
yes, I can absolutely do that.
And so,
Absolutely.
maybe practice on if somebody just sends you a photo of themselves
Yeah, I can do that.
and
I
put out the
100% can do
intention
that.
while you're working with the sound and as an experiment. I
Yep,
mean, these are the things that we can do.
yep. No, I mean, it can be done. Like I said, there is really no time and space.
Hmm. Hmm.
That energetic healing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're on the other side of the world.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
also do, I can help people arrange their space. I can help people bring more prosperity into their lives. I
Mhm.
can help people understand herbs and things that are more beneficial for their body based on their specific constitution. And so, anyway, I have my hands in a lot of different things like you do.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm doing a lot of the same things. And
Yeah.
I'm just out here trying to share what I can with whomever I meet on the street too. So,
Whoever will listen.
well, I'm just about sharing because sharing is caring. So,
It is. It
all
really
right.
is.
Well,
All
thank
right,
you
Ellen.
so much again for having a chat with me. I love it when we can get together and have our chats for
Me
other people.
too. Me too. Okay, well, until next time.
I
Bye,
know.
everybody.
Bye. Thanks for watching.